Good evening and welcome to the 51st Governor's Arts and Humanities Awards. My name is Cameron Perez-Verdia and I'm the President and CEO of the Alaska Humanities Forum. And I'm pleased to be joined by my co-host, Andrea Noble, Executive Director of the Alaska Council on the Arts, as we honor 8 Alaskans who have enriched our lives and strengthened our communities through the arts and humanities.
Thanks, Cameron. Although we are unable to gather in person, the importance of this event still brings us together for a single purpose. And this year is no exception as we honor these notable Alaskans. It is very grounding and reassuring for the future to think about the cumulative years of dedication and excellence that tonight's awardees have given selflessly during their lifetimes to build a cultural legacy for all Alaskans. If you would like to read more about each awardee and the award categories, the print program is available online at akgovawards.org. And now we would like to begin by sharing a special virtual performance of the Alaska Flag Song performed by the Anchorage Symphony Orchestra and conducted by the late and beloved Randall Craig Fleischer.
I would now like to invite Melissa Shaganoff, who will share a land acknowledgement.
You are on Indigenous land. Since time immemorial, Indigenous people have cared for the waters, plants, and animals of Alaska. Here in Tegoyakok, or what is now known as Anchorage, the Dena'ina continue to steward this place through Indigenous knowledge and ways of being. This acknowledgement is not an action. It is not reparations or reconciliation. But in acknowledging the history and work of Indigenous people, we offer respect, continue our journey of understanding, and begin to share the burden of truth-telling. So Chinan Dena'ina Kotana, we look to your elders and youth for guidance, because it is only Indigenous ways of being that will ensure our future here.
Thank you for watching this pre-recorded celebration of the arts and humanities in Alaska, and for supporting the activities which make our lives so much better here on the last frontier. I'm Benjamin Brown, Chairman of the Alaska State Council on the Arts, and it's been a great privilege for many years to serve in this capacity with Alaska's State Arts Agency. Over 5 decades, ASCA has worked with the Office of the Governor to honor many amazing Alaskans who've done great things for the people of Alaska. And in more recent years, we've been very pleased to work with the Alaska Humanities Forum and the Alaska Arts and Culture Foundation to bring you these awards. And we're doing it now despite a pandemic and overcoming some significant challenges. So we're just very happy that you're here watching and that you're sharing in this wonderful evening. So Alaska is facing some challenging times, and ASCA remains committed to doing what we can as a state arts agency to meet those challenges successfully, because we have many programs that make us a more creative, problem-solving, and prosperous people as Alaskans. Our education programs in particular instill arts into every day's curriculum across the state now even in the pandemic as before in the traditional classroom, and they make a huge difference improving the outcomes that we get in our schools, reducing truancy and misbehavior and maximizing the efficient use of scarce resources to really make education effective in Alaska. Our Silver Hand program helps authenticate Alaska Native artists' creations to make sure that real things are being sold that are authentic and that the economic benefits flow back to rural Alaska. We've got many other programs, visual arts, grants, our Creative Forces program that helps military servicemen and women return from war and heal and become reintegrated into their communities. I don't have time to go into all the great work that ASCA does, but I will say one thing. Everything we do is a partnership, starting with the partnership with the Alaska State Legislature and the investment it makes annually in our operating budget, which meets a federal legal requirement for matching funds from the National Endowment for the Arts. And that leads to investment by our foundation partners, the Rasmussen Foundation, Margaret A. Cargill Philanthropies, the Siri Foundation, the Western States Arts Federation, Atwood Foundation, and more. At the end of the day, only a quarter of our budget, less, comes from the state, and less than half of the overall budget comes from any governmental source. And the majority of our budget comes from private, non-governmental sources, which we're very proud of. We want to continue to work to make happen for the benefit of all Alaskans. So I really want to thank all the board members of the Alaska State Council on the Arts, the Alaska Humanities Forum, the Arts and Culture Foundation, the amazing, talented staff, Charlie Sears, Pat Race, my fellow trustee, for all the work that they did to bring you this film tonight. And I want to thank the administration of Governor Mike Dunleavy and Governor Dunleavy personally for supporting the arts. We were fully funded in the governor's budget that was released in December, and we are looking forward to a productive legislative session in Juneau. And I want to thank his Commissioner of Education, Michael Johnson, and his Commissioner of Administration, Kelly Shibaka. They've been wonderful to work with in a number of important initiatives and partnerships between the Arts Council and the administration. So with that, thank you very much again for watching.
My name is Moira Smith, and I serve as chair of the Board of Directors of the Alaska Humanities Forum. For 49 years here in the 49th state, the Alaska Humanities Forum has created brave spaces for people to have conversations about what really matters: leadership, the urban-rural divide, and creating cultural competency in teachers who are heading to rural Alaska for the first time. You may not know our name, but you know our programs: Leadership Anchorage, Magnetic North, the Urban-Rural Sister School Exchange, Culture Shift, and so many more. We are so proud to have brought these programs to you over the last 49 years, and because of that, I ask you to join me in supporting the work of the Humanities Forum this evening. You can go to www.akhf.org and make a sustaining contribution to our endowment or just to our day-to-day programming. Now, there's a particular awardee I want to talk to you about tonight as a way of illustrating why the work that the Humanities Forum does and the work that these remarkable Alaskans have done is so important. Lifetime Humanities Forum awardee Kathy Kolkhorst-Reddy has been granted the award posthumously because of her remarkable work in service to Tlingit and Haida elders in Southeast Alaska. Now, 2020 has been a remarkable year, was a remarkable year, one full of opportunities to learn about the privilege we have, especially as white people, and how we can use that privilege to lift up those around us who are not as privileged. Well, Kathy Kolkhorst-Reddy may have died in 2020, but she heard that siren song many decades before and spent her life in service to others, helping to tell their stories and ensuring that even though she was a white lawyer, that she didn't spend her time serving herself, but instead she lifted up other people and told their stories. It's exactly that kind of service to others that the Alaska Humanities Forum honors. It's the role of lifting up other people's stories and ensuring that as we move into a post-colonial 21st century, we are lifting up the voices of those whose stories have not been told. I hope you'll join me in supporting the work of the Humanities Forum, and I wish you a wonderful evening.
Congratulations to all the awardees. In '98, we were Yukon bound, 30 Mile she run aground. Dawson City, no work to be found. Only trouble and gold by the pound. I'm gonna lie, gonna cheat, gonna steal. I'm gonna fake all the things I can't feel. And when I meet my savior, honey, I will kneel and work this room till I get a better deal. Gonna work this room till I get a better deal. Watch out, woman, this hot girl. I'll be your sweetheart if you give me a whirl. But ain't no man gonna buy off me, for life is a wife to misery. For life is a wife to misery. From the moment I did decide, I was bathed, I was baptized. Silk and lace be my disguise. I will suffer, I will rise. I'm gonna run, gonna float, gonna fly. I'm gonna swallow all the tears I cry. And if you see me on the by and by, don't you call me by my name, lest I'll die. Don't you call me by my name, lest I'll die. Watch out, woman, this hot girl. I'll be your sweetheart if you give me a whirl. But ain't no man gonna buy off me, for life is a wife to misery. For life is a wife to misery. Welcome to the demi-monde, bienvenue à la demi-monde. Welcome to the demi-monde, bienvenue à la demi-monde.
We'd like to take a moment to thank KTOO for broadcasting this ceremony tonight. And we want to recognize and thank the lead sponsors of this year's celebration: ConocoPhillips, Rasmussen Foundation, Alaska Arts and Culture Foundation. I want to tell you about this new pin I'm wearing. This year we're doing a cool new thing where we're trying to get as many people to get these pins as possible. All you need to do is go to akgovawards.org, and for a minimum suggested donation of $25, you can get one of these pins too. And once you get your pin, then we're asking you to go to your favorite social media site, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you like, and post your picture with your pin. This is really going to help us to promote the arts and humanities work across Alaska, and your donation goes directly to supporting that work as well. So take a moment, go to our website, get your pin, and support the work of Alaska Humanities Forum and the State Council on the Arts. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to highlight the artists who created the awards for this event. Every year, the Alaska State Council on the Arts commissions artwork by a renowned and celebrated Alaska artist. Nicholas Galanin from Sitka began work last fall to create a series of pieces true to his vision and creative practice. One piece will be shipped to each awardee along with a certificate signed by Governor Dunleavy. Thank you, Nicholas, for your inspiring work. first award is for artistic leadership, distinction, and merit. This year's Individual Artist Award is given to Dale DeArmond of Juneau. An author, artist, and printmaker, Dale was renowned for her intricate woodblock prints, incorporating local legend and lore. Accepting the award is Malene Babcock, Dale's daughter-in-law.
Good day. My name is Malene Babcock, and I have been honored to accept the award for the Governor's Award for the arts that is going to be presented to Dale DeArmond. Dale DeArmond was born in 1914 in Bismarck, North Dakota, into a family of skilled craftsmen and artists. And as a matter of fact, her younger brother was eventually, during the later part of his years, a skilled silversmith and goldsmith who was part of the Taos, New Mexico colony. Dale and Bob met in the Stadium High School in Tacoma, Washington, and eventually Bob had invited her up to Sitka, and she came, and it must have been a success because they were married about 2 months later. Their early lives, married lives, took place in Sitka, Pelican, Ketchikan, Pelican, and they moved to Juneau in 1953 when Bob became an assistant to the then Governor Heintzelman. Dale got a job at our very small library, and by the time that she graduated from retired, she headed up 3 small libraries and a substantial staff. During all this time, she was exploring, working in various media in the art world, including jewelry, pen and ink drawings, and so forth. And this actually began with her woodcuts in the late 50s and early 60s. And she probably produced about 100 of those. It was hard on her, and so she looked for other media to use. And the main one that she chose was wood engravings. And she has produced, over the years, over 1,000. Over the course of her career, she did made many trips to the westward with fellow artists, and also had a strong bent towards mentoring younger artists. When they moved back to Sitka, she had much better facilities in which to have her printing press, which she used to great extent. And I am humbled to be able to accept this award in Dale's name.
Our next award for Arts Business Leadership is given to Juneau Radio Center, represented tonight by Richard and Sharon Burns. Juneau Radio Center has provided coverage and advertising for arts and culture activities of all kinds for many years, annually donating over $1 million of free promotional airtime to local community groups, in addition to regular community-based programming, such as Capital Chat, Action Line, and KINY's Problem Corner.
Hi, we're Richard and Sharon Burns from the Juneau Radio Centre stations, and it was quite an amazing honour and very humbling for us to receive the Governor's Arts Business Leadership Award. We didn't even know the award existed, but we are strong believers in the arts in all the forms that they take, and we're very happy to be able to support those. I myself am not very artistic. My mother was a piano teacher. She tried to teach me piano. That was a huge failure. I went on to play clarinet, and let's just say that wasn't much more successful. But I did learn to be able to play one thing, and that was records on the radio, and that's kind of turned out okay.
That's right. It is a thrill and very humbling to receive this award. And, you know, I think when I think about living in Juneau, it's such a small town, 32,000 people, and yet I consider the enormous amount of talent we have here across the arts, and I'm really glad to live in a community that is this rich. And we will continue to support the arts in all its forms. We think it enriches the community in so many ways, and so again, thank you very much. I'm off now to finish my Bob Ross painting, and which I'll be submitting for an award next year.
And congratulations to all the other recipients of awards tonight.
The next award is the Margaret Nick Cook Award, given to Markle Pete of Glen Allen. The Margaret Nick Cook Award honors and recognizes individuals and organizations whose work advances Alaska Native languages and culture. Margaret Nick Cook was born in 1944 in Nunapachuk, near Bethel. She was a steadfast advocate of Alaska Native people and deeply dedicated to her Alaska Native culture and traditions, Alaska Native arts, and the perpetuation of her language. Elder Markle Pete was instrumental in the continuation and preservation of the Ahtna Athabaskan language in Chickaloon Native Village and in the region of his home community of Taslina. Accepting this award is Chief Gary Harrison of Chickaloon Native Village.
Willie Jan, Kaska, Gary Harrison. Good day. I'm Chief Gary Harrison. I feel honored to accept this award on behalf of Markle Pete. Markle Pete was a big part of our revitalization of our language and culture. I'll read a little bit first, then I'll add my own comments. Markle Pete used to travel from Taslina, Alaska, and would stay a week at a time teaching the students and teachers of the Yanida'a School the Ahtna language and culture. He was born in 1928 in Copper Center, Alaska. He lived a traditional lifestyle, often traveling with his dad on the trap lines, going hunting and fishing in the traditional ways. He came to teach at Yanida'a School from 2003 to 2014. The Ahtna Athabaskan Dene language, culture, traditions, and ancient stories. Markle had such a good sense of humor and taught us to have fun with learning. Markle's approach to learning and use of humor helped us want to engage in learning the language. Markle will be missed. He passed away in 2018. Many people in our community respected his knowledge. He would talk with the Yanida'a students and teachers, telling stories, valuable life lessons that will not be forgotten. Markle had the knowledge of several different dialects and would teach us about the different dialects. We do wish we had more time with Markle because of the knowledge, skills, and life experience he possessed. Many blessings to Markle's family for the loss of a great man. The appreciation and gratitude for his presence at the Yanida'a School will live on through this curriculum. Here's one of his quotes. It said, "It will take you 100 years to catch up with me, but you can do it." Markle Pete. Markle was also a personal friend of mine as well as a teacher. When we had gatherings for sovereignty, for the sovereignty of the indigenous people in Alaska and the decolonization, Markle would come and support us. He was very funny in the way he would tell the stories that would tell us how we should act even though we're striving for our rights. He also came to our fishing meetings and would tell us stories. And when we started fishing at Taslina, there was a little tiff going on between some of the people there, and Markle told us, he says, well, you got right. And he was always very supportive of us. He would joke around with us a lot, and I miss him all the time. There's still a lot of questions I'd like to ask him and talk to him about. Some of his stories, they may not have been traditional, but they were generally funny. And I feel glad and honored to have been his friend. And I feel honored to receive this award for him and his family. His family's going through a rough time now, so they're not here to do it. So I'd like to have a prayer for him and his family. Chinan, thank you.
Our next award category, Government Leadership in the Arts, is a new award category created this year by the Alaska State Council on the Arts. This award recognizes the City and Borough of Juneau, represented tonight by Mayor Beth Weldon. The City and Borough of Juneau, or CBJ, has provided consistent support for arts, culture, and heritage work in Alaska's capital city. The CBJ has improved the quality of civic life and inspired residents and visitors to think of arts and culture as an essential part of daily life and economic development.
On behalf of the City and Borough of Juneau's Assembly, staff, and volunteers, I'd like to say how thrilled we are to receive the 2020 Governor's Arts and Humanities Award for Arts Government Leadership. For many years, CBJ has worked to provide consistent, impactful support for arts, culture, and heritage in our community. Receiving this award tells us that we have met with some measure of success. Every year, the city allocates a small percentage of our budget to the arts through the Juneau Arts and Humanities Council. The council administers these funds and distributes them to local arts organizations, including Perseverance Theater, Juneau Jazz and Classics, the Juneau Symphony, and others. In addition, the council uses some of its funds to provide scholarships and grants to individual artists in the community. Also, the city has a 1% of the arts program, which funds art projects for city-funded building projects. Most recently, the Assembly allocated some of our Federal CARES Act money as grants to nonprofit arts entities and to working artists in Juneau who have been financially harmed by the pandemic. Besides being a large economic driver for the capital city, the arts also inspire community school children to dream of a life in the arts as a possibility. Alaskan arts and culture are also a great attraction for people from across the nation and around the world who are so eager to come and visit us in Juneau. The arts creates a vehicle through which society can express its hopes, dreams, fears, trends, and the beauty of life. Our support of the arts sends a message to the members of our community that we place a high value on these expressions. The inspiration that we receive from the arts enriches our hearts and souls and helps us to be better creative problem solvers in the issues we face in our daily lives. Especially during these most challenging of times, the arts are helping all of us every day to find the courage to lead our lives and help one another as we move forward to a brighter future. Art is limited only by the imagination of humankind. Art elicits emotion regardless of one's age, gender, or ethnicity. Art feeds the soul. Painting, sculpture, music, literature, theater, dance, and the other art forms are the repository of a society's collective memory. Again, the City and Borough of Juneau is very proud to receive the award for Arts Government Leadership, which reflects not just on CBJ as a local government, but on all the men and women in our community. I want to express our deepest appreciation to the Alaska State Council on the Arts for bestowing this award on our city, and know that we will continue to support the arts strongly going forward. Thank you.
Is it sugar or is it salt? Either way, it ain't your fault. Days go by and I wonder when I can see your face again. Yeah, I can see your face again. Now I play this old guitar someone bashed in your old car. Plastic sheet over the rear. Why do we live in a world of fear? Said, why do we live in a world of fear? Time's been hard. Yeah, time's been hard on everyone. But we keep hanging on. We keep hanging on. We keep hanging on to sing our song. They say life is bittersweet. Sometimes lemons are what we eat. But I know I'll make it through as long as I share my table with you. As long as I share my table with you. So may your dreams be good when your days are not. May we wake up thankful for what we got. We may not have everything, but we got each other and we can sing. Yeah, we got each other and we can sing. Time goes by, blink of an eye, and then it's gone. But we keep hanging on. Yes, we keep hanging on. We keep hanging on to sing our song. We keep hanging on. Yes, we keep hanging on. We keep hanging on to sing our song. Yes, we keep hanging on to sing our
so many tears. I can't see the forest for all my fears. When you took to flight, oh, I thought that I'd never, no, never see the light again. But I'm climbing up the mountain from the valley where I lived for so long. Yes, I'm climbing up the mountain through the shadows that held me for so long. I've been wandering down East 17th. Though the house is empty except for the old tired shoes of defeat. But I'm climbing up the mountain from the valley where I lived for so long. Yes, I'm climbing. Oh, I'm climbing up the mountain, through the shadows that held me for so long. Yes, I'm climbing up the mountain from the valley where I lived for so long. Yes, I'm climbing up the mountain through the shadows that held me for so long. Held me for so long. So long. But they can't hold me.
Congratulations to all of this year's awardees in the arts. Now, I am honored to introduce the Humanities Awards. These awards recognize Alaskans who have worked to connect people and strengthen communities across our state, whose efforts have contributed to telling the stories of our past, present, and future, and whose work has helped to build a more culturally diverse, economically vibrant, and equitable Alaska, where people are engaged, connected, and informed. Our first award is given in the category of education and is awarded to Rachel Epstein of Anchorage. During a tenure that spanned nearly 20 years, Rachel Epstein organized and hosted over 900 events covering every imaginable and important topic in Alaska's history. Her tenure as the Special Events Coordinator of the UAA campus, Epstein turned the campus bookstore into a forum for inquiry, conversation, and expression.
Thank you to the Alaska Humanities Forum, the Alaska State Council on the Arts, and the Governor's Office for honoring me with this award, and to Sandy Clevin of Cirque Press, Kathleen Tarr, and all the people who recommended my nomination. The goal of UAA Campus Bookstore events was to bring people together in an informal environment to exchange ideas and learn from one another. I am deeply grateful that the bookstore, which operated as a nonprofit, self-supportive auxiliary, supported the special events position, and provided a dedicated space to welcome guest speakers and UA faculty. Having an office that faced the beautiful Alaska Native Science and Engineering Program building, which displays contemporary art, and a student assistant hired to design complex event posters, made going to work a creative challenge every day. Fortunately, Jason Quisenberry and Doug Nguyen quickly grasped the motto, Art for Thought, and stayed on board for years. It has been a privilege to share the Alaska I have come to know with other Alaskans and with people in the lower 48 and abroad via the unedited podcast posted in iTunes and stored in the UAA archives and special collections. If people in attendance had decided to stay home, events undoubtedly would not have been as interesting or successful. In accepting this award, I would like to honor the memory of John Haynes, Richard Downauer, Walt Parker, Robert Fortine, Eva Salidas, Sherry Simpson, Gordon Puller, Walter Benish, Phyllis Fast, Chuck Sassara, Clay Nunnally, Ed Peace, Ruth Sheridan, Bonnie Vlasov, and co-worker Carol Steffen, who graced the bookstore with their wisdom, insights, and presence. They were great teachers. A special note of appreciation goes to my siblings, Irving Epstein and Esther Epstein, for their unlimited kindness and strong sense of justice. And to Michael Brian Mitchell, who for 25 years has looked out for me no matter the conditions. He has never questioned the purpose of my work or motivations for it. No words can convey how full my life has been because of him. In life, I have learned more from people than from books. However, I believe without the study of philosophy, oral traditions, history, and literature, a singular imagination can be created, which is narrow-minded, exclusive, selfish, and dull. My hope is that the humanities will continue to flourish and keep us from such a fate. Thank you very much for this incredible honor.
The next award is given in the category of leadership and is awarded to Bill Legere of Juneau. In his 40-year career in Alaska, most of it at the helm of KTOO in Juneau, Bill Legere has devoted himself to improving the civic, intellectual, and cultural life of Alaska. His hard work and quiet leadership have touched almost every Alaskan. He's transformed KTOO from a conventional public broadcasting station to a statewide leader in news and has nurtured the careers of dozens of talented reporters, producers, editors, and media makers.
I cannot tell you how honored I am to receive this award. I came to Alaska in 1980. Over those 40 years, it's been my job and my joy to work with thousands of talented reporters, writers, editors, producers, and filmmakers. Through these years, all of us in public media have worked with so many of you in the arts and humanities to enrich the civic, cultural, and artistic life of Alaska. I'm also moved to be sharing the stage tonight with my longtime friend and collaborator, Kathy Ruddy. Kathy was one of the first influencers I met when I came to Alaska, and her lifelong impact on our sector has been incredible. Every visit, every phone call, every meeting with Kathy uplifted and enriched me. I will miss her. Finally, I want to take this opportunity to say that I think our most important work is yet to come. It's time for all of us in the arts and humanities to use all of our resources, our time, our talent, our insight, to address the issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion in Alaska. It's time for me and those who lead our cultural institutions to make changes that we know are overdue. At the board table, on our staffs, among our volunteers, in all of our programs, and most importantly, in our hearts. It's time for us to move beyond the conferences and the webinars and the facilitators and start making change happen. Those of us who work in the arts and humanities have the opportunity to make a difference, and this is our time to take action. Thank you again for this recognition, and I look forward to working with you on our common goals.
Our third award is given in the category of community and is awarded to the Kodiak Historical Society, also known as the Kodiak History Museum, represented tonight by Executive Director Sarah Harrington. The Kodiak History Museum, known until 2019 as the Baranoff Museum, serves as an essential and beloved community resource, dedicated to the preserving, interpreting, and sharing of the full breadth of the history of the Kodiak Archipelago. They're leading the way in decolonizing small museums and proven to be a catalyst of change in Kodiak, strengthening community by forging connections between people across race, class, and cultural divides.
Shemai, my name is Sarah Harrington, and I serve the Kodiak community as the Executive Director of the Kodiak Historical Society and Kodiak History Museum. I'm honored to represent our beloved community center at the 2020 Governor's Arts and Humanities Awards. First, I want to thank the Alaska Humanities Forum, the Alaska State Council on the Arts, the Alaska Arts and Culture Foundation, and Governor Dunleavy for your invaluable support of cultural institutions across Alaska. Your recognition, validating our visions and values is deeply appreciated, and our sincere thanks goes to both the leaders and staff for all you've done to gather us here today. I'd like to thank the City of Kodiak first for the more than half a century of partnership to preserve and share Kodiak's history. The Kodiak History Museum wouldn't be what it is today without its enduring support. And next, I'd like to recognize the key partners who supported our museum's recent progress, including the permanent exhibits redesign and facility upgrade project. For too long, our exhibits were dominated by stories of Russian and early American colonization. And thanks to the vision and faith of many who recognize that cultural diversity is central both to the historic periods of significance associated with the Russian American magazine and to the present-day island population. Housed in the historic magazine, the museum is uniquely positioned to convey themes of immigration, industry, and cross-cultural interaction in coastal Southwest Alaska. And it was their vision and hard work that reinvigorated the museum to facilitate the discovery of cultural, social, and environmental history of the region over time. I'd like to thank the diligent and dedicated team who worked on the project from its conception: Katie Oliver, Tiffany Brunson, Angelique Grantham, Michael Bach, Natalie Trenery, and all of the staff who researched and reviewed endless planning documents. Our board of directors, both past and present, who cheered us on and asked how they could help time and time again. And finally, to the Rasmussen Foundation, Murdoch Charitable Trust, and for the generous support from our community, to Museums Alaska and Exhibit AK, who helped us all realize the 8-year project to showcase exhibits that were exciting and engaging, inclusive and accessible. And I want to extend a special thanks to our collections manager, Margaret Groydert, who carried the collections through the project literally and also brought a new model of temporary exhibits, all created by the community for the community, to our institution. This model of co-curating exhibits in partnership with community members flips the previous model of exhibit curation on its head. We believe that we are a resource and a platform for the community to tell its own stories, draw its own conclusions, and create meaningful dialogue together, looking to history as our guide. And it is because of these incredible people and organizations that our museum is taking a lead in decolonizing small museums in our great state and forging connections between people across race, class, and cultural divides. And finally, I want to thank our representatives, Lisa Murkowski, Gary Stevens, Louise Stutz, and to all of Alaska's representatives for your courageous support of our history and heritage in Alaska. We are eternally grateful. Kuyana Shinak for your consideration, guidance, hard work, and your time. Thank you so very much.
This year, we are pleased to present a Lifetime Achievement in the Humanities Award, posthumously to Kathy Kolkhorst-Ruddy. Juneau lost a beloved leader, volunteer, advocate, and community member when longtime resident Kathy Kolkhorst-Ruddy passed away on December 10, 2020. Ruddy served the Juneau community for over 40 years as an attorney and public servant, volunteer, and donor. Linda Rosenthal, co-founder of Juneau Jazz and Classics, wrote, quote, "She was one of Juneau's foremost advocates for the arts and as such has made a profound impact on the community's cultural landscape," end quote. This award will be accepted by her daughter, Elena Ruddy.
Hi, my name is Elena Merrill, formerly Ruddy, speaking to you from Missoula, Montana. I'm the youngest of Kathy's 4 kids and have the privilege of calling Juneau my hometown. On behalf of my siblings spread all across the globe, from Africa to Indonesia, Scotland, and right here in Montana, we're honored and humbled that our mom is being presented with this prestigious award. Growing up, I knew my mom was very involved in the Juneau community. I used to refer to her as the committee queen. As a kid, I looked forward to Juneau Jazz and Classics most especially the blues cruises. I definitely didn't anticipate or appreciate the blood, sweat, and tears that went into that festival. I just got to hear some great music, get out of school a little early sometimes, and got a really cool t-shirt. Now as a parent, I'm able to take my children to go meet Spike the whale at Overstreet Park and be able to tell them that their grandma was a huge part of this. Most of all, her deep commitment to understanding the cultural impact of history on people and place, along with her huge capacity of love. Since her passing, more than ever, I'm realizing her monumental impact on Juneau and the greater Alaskan community. And I feel so blessed and thankful that I get to cherish the memories that she gave me through all of her hard work and immense generosity. Thank you to Peter Metcalf and everyone that wanted to give our mom this award. She was always a very giving and humble individual, and I know she would be honored.
My name is Lillian Petershore. Kathy Colkers-Reddy was a close friend and frequent walking buddy. As a Tlingit from the Eagle Wolf Yenyedi clan, I am happy to acknowledge Kathy, a Raven Day Shitan opposite. Kathy was adopted by Cyril George and his clan for her many contributions to the Native community. As a K2 volunteer, Kathy actively assisted in producing the Southeast Native Radio program from 1985 to 2001. On the air, Kathy interviewed elders, activists, educators, and cultural specialists on subsistence, land claims, Indigenous languages, music, and the issues of the day. Kathy arranged for the program's 400 recorded interviews to be transferred to the Sea-Alaska Heritage Institute. Kathy was a volunteer organizer for the Sharing Our Knowledge Conference, a biannual conference of Tlingit and Haida tribes and clans. Esteemed cultural bearers Richard and Nora Dowenhauer and Andy Hope recruited Kathy to review and edit their scholarly works. Later, the Dowenhauers, as well as Cyril George, appointed Kathy as their literary executor. They could not have chosen a more ardent champion. I thank the Alaska Humanities Forum for recognizing my friend, Kathy Colkers-Reddy.
Kathy poured her heart and soul into everything she did. She had an endless capacity to give, whether it was her time, inspiration, wisdom, or moral support. Her profound commitment to her community benefited all of us. Closest to my heart was all that Kathy gave to the Juneau Jazz and Classics Festival because I was privileged to work with her there for over 30 years. Kathy was a driving force behind our education program that provides scholarships, workshops, and free concerts for Juneau's youth. So if you were ever a Juneau school child or attended a concert as an adult, you benefited from Kathy's giving. And of course, her influence on our community was much, much larger than that. For instance, few of us could even imagine a life-size sculpture of a breaching whale. Now we can hardly imagine our waterfront without it, and that is thanks in large part to Kathy Ruddy. We could not be more grateful for her joyful, generous spirit.
Congratulations to all of our awardees, and thank you for your contributions to the people and communities across Alaska.
This concludes the 51st Governor's Arts and Humanities Awards. Thank you so much for joining us for this year's celebration. Stay safe and have a pleasant evening.